Justice doesn't burst through the window. It shatters it when the moment arrives. Let that resonate, chosen one. Because while they assumed they could escape all the harm they inflicted on you, the cosmos has been observing quietly, collecting proof, biding its time to act. And now the barriers they erected to confine you are collapsing on them. Their identities are being etched into the sort of narrative nobody desires to lead. The one where the closing act finishes in confinement. Now picture this for a second. Chosen one, they conspired. They plotted. They murmured in shadowed spots, believing no one could overhear. They figured they could seize your existence, your liberty, your serenity. They attempted to tarnish your image, demolish your standing, and leave you struggling for breath. But rather than you collapsing, they're the ones submerging. It's like observing someone ignite a building only to discover they barred themselves inside prior to lighting the flame. That's the type of turnaround the cosmos adores. Rapid, artistic, and unforgiving. Here's a truth you should cherish. More than 90% of the time, individuals who believe they've erased their traces are unraveled by their own hubris. They boast, they err, they confide in the incorrect ally. They scatter clues where they assumed there was quiet, and those clues, they guide detectives directly to the banquet of their wrongdoing. That's precisely what's occurring now. The cosmos doesn't require your advocacy. It allows them to implicate themselves with each reckless action. They believed they were pursuing you, but actually they were drafting the order for their own capture. And thank you, chosen one, for joining me in this realm. Don't overlook repaying this message by merely hitting like and subscribe to assist in disseminating this insight to additional spirits. It's the duty of everyone to propagate the glow. Thank you, chosen one, for participating in this quest. You are not merely an observer. You're an element of a power, a surge that cannot be muted. Now returning to the reality we must confront. They couldn't claim your life, chosen one. They desired to. Oh, they employed every ploy available. Judicial snares, hidden chatter, covert arrangements. But regardless of how often they assaulted you, the cosmos placed a halt in their route. They couldn't affect your life. But here's the harsh reversal. The cosmos can impact theirs immediately. And when that instant arrives, it doesn't arrive gradually. It doesn't alert. It overturns everything in a flash. One day they're chuckling at you, ridiculing you, savoring their independence. The next they're restrained, lights flashing, their hidden truths scattered across the ground. Consider it. The identical lips that damned your name will be compelled to justify their own offenses. The identical palms that attempted to shove you downward will be bound at the joints. The identical legs that chased you will trudge in orange attire. This isn't merely karma. It's the cosmos demonstrating to you, chosen one, that no tool crafted against you succeeds for long. They assumed they possessed exemption, but nobody evades when the cosmos determines the hour has come. And here's the splendor in it all. You don't have to raise a hand. You don't need to pursue vengeance. You don't need to validate yourself. Their downfall is validation sufficient. Their collapse is the proof. While you ascend, they disintegrate. While you continue advancing, they're trapped reliving their errors in the chilly resonance of a chamber. The very individuals who once believed they could claim your life will spend their days realizing they couldn't even safeguard their own liberty. So prepare yourself, chosen one, because this isn't solely about worldly justice. It's universal justice. It's greater than magistrates, attorneys, or tribunals. It's the cosmos composing the conclusion of a tale they thought they dominated. And the manner this plot is reversing, even filmmakers couldn't invent a turn this flawless. The identical platform they attempted to pull you onto is now turned into the arena where their facade drops. Their deceptions, their ploys, their disloyalties revealed under the most intense illumination. They're heading to prison, chosen one. And this time, it's not just about steel barriers or jail structures. It's about the cosmos reclaiming the existence they tried to pilfer from you and forcing them to endure the burden of what they've committed. Their liberty is concluding where yours commences. This is not their triumph, it's their verdict. And when the cosmos acts, nobody can contest. So, chosen one, are you prepared to journey with me through this phase by phase? Because what you're about to absorb isn't just a narrative. It's a disclosure of how the cosmos reverses the narrative on those who ventured to target you. Leave a remark below with the digit 1727 if you sense it in your essence that their era is over, that justice is already advancing in secrecy. And pay attention carefully. If you are genuinely a chosen one, you'll experience that draw within you, compelling you to remain until the final syllable. Because every element counts. Every turn in this communication will affirm what you already sense profoundly. They couldn't claim your life, but the cosmos can claim theirs in a moment. So draw near, chosen one, because this isn't amusement, it's validation. And now let's commence. Number 1, they tried to eliminate a spirit the cosmos declines to obliterate. Obliterate me if you dare, but recall that ink marks are simpler to cleanse than fate. Let that weigh heavily for an instant, chosen one, because that's precisely what they attempted to do to you. They wanted to handle your presence like a document on their device. Select it, move it, press delete, and observe it evaporate. They thought you were disposable, substitutable, unmemorable. But here's the visceral blow they didn't anticipate. You're not a document. You're blaze. And blaze doesn't vanish just because someone desires it gone. It expands, it sears. It persists in the atmosphere long after the fires are extinguished. Now envision this. An artist devotes years crafting a masterpiece, layer upon layer of hue, surface, and significance. Then some conceited defacer rushes in with a container of pigment, thinking one dash will erase generations of skill. But instead, their awkward assault only makes the authentic masterpiece radiate brighter once it's renewed. That's what your adversaries did to you. They tried to obscure, to defame, to devastate. But chosen one, what they actually did was emphasize the profundity of who you are. Their assaults became the setting that made your endurance appear like artwork. You might inquire, why did they even attempt so vigorously to obliterate me? And the response is straightforward. They perceived something in you they couldn't replicate. Something that frightened them, because it wasn't artificial, wasn't purchased, wasn't fabricated. You possess what they'll never possess. And core the cosmos inscribed into you before they even conceived the notion to despise you. They wanted to obliterate you, not because you were feeble, but because your mere presence shouted a reality they could never mute. You were constructed to endure. Here's a severe truth. Chosen one, experts have examined this repeatedly. People who can't dominate you will attempt to ruin your image instead. Why? Because it's the final armament of the impotent. They'll defame you, distort your statements, fabricate untrue accounts, and hope the masses join their refrain. But masses are changeable. Deceptions don't mature gracefully. And when the debris clears, the reality stands unperturbed, more robust than before. That's exactly what transpired to you. They couldn't claim your life, so they tried to enter your name. Yet, here you are, respiring, flourishing, more vocal than ever. They thought defamation would be the blade, but it proved to be their admission. Every murmur, every defamation drive only revealed their fixation with you. Because reflect on it, why expend so much vigor trying to obliterate someone they assert doesn't count? Why squander evenings and plots on a person they said was insignificant? The reality is, their fixation demonstrated your significance more than your quiet ever could. Your endurance became their reflection, and they detested the image. But here's the aspect they'll never concede. Every time you arose from the remnants, you proved they weren't battling an average person. They were battling a power. You became a living opposition to their deceptions. Your tranquility ridiculed their turmoil. Your persistence ridiculed their brutality. Your presence ridiculed their defeat. And the more you persisted, the more frantic they became. They weren't just battling to obliterate you anymore. They were battling to obliterate what your endurance disclosed about them. That they were frail, that they were savage, that they were the antagonists in a narrative they tried to dictate as yours. Now heed this, chosen one. When someone tries to obliterate a person the cosmos has imprinted with endurance, they don't just falter, they self-annihilate. It's like trying to slice water with a knife. The knife only blunts itself while the water persists. That's what happened to them. They honed their blades on you, but you didn't shatter. Their armaments rebounded, and the wounds they desired for you became the fissures in their own disguise. Every deception was a trail back to their own culpability. Every plot became a record of their depravity. And this is the artistic justice they never anticipated. They thought they were constructing your casket, but they were actually composing their own judgment. They thought they were obliterating you, but they were chronicling themselves. They thought they were muting your narrative, but they were issuing their downfall. The cosmos has a method of allowing conceit to ensnare itself. And now, chosen one, they're the ones ensnared. They couldn't claim your life, but the cosmos can claim theirs in an instant. That's not retribution. It's equilibrium. That's not savagery. It's adjustment. Think of it this way. They tried to disconnect your radiance like it was a bulb, but you're not connected to them. You're connected to the origin that powers stars. They don't have the authority to dim you, no matter how many levers they pull. And now the same radiance they tried to sever is revealing every darkness they inhabit. They thought they could obliterate you, but instead your shine is compelling the world to view them precisely as they are. That's the kind of justice no courtroom can deliver. So let me inquire you, Chosen One, do you perceive it now? Do you perceive why they're frightened? It's not just about your endurance. It's about what your endurance declares. It declares they faltered. It declares they deceived. It declares their authority was a delusion all along. And nothing frightens the imposter more than the instant they realize their disguise is sliding in front of everyone. That's where they are right now, freaking out, disintegrating, revealed. And here's the concluding reality. They couldn't obliterate you because you were never sketched in graphite. You were etched in rock. You were secured in endurance. And when someone combats endurance, they don't triumph. They fracture themselves. That's why they're confronting repercussions now. That's why the cosmos is encroaching on them. They couldn't claim your life, but now they have to exist, knowing the cosmos can claim theirs instantly. No regret, no justification, no concealment will reverse what's approaching. Their conflict against you was really a conflict against fate. And in conflicts like that, fate always prevails. Number 2, you were the trial, and they botched in the most inexcusable manner. Unmask a deceiver to reality, and you'll observe if they're prepared to evolve or prepared to demolish the reality instead. That's precisely what occurred when you entered their existence, Chosen One. You weren't just another transient, not another secondary figure in their tale. You were the trial. The cosmos positioned you right there as a reflection, a gauge, a living benchmark that uncovered everything they had concealed beneath the exterior. And instead of selecting development, instead of selecting integrity, they selected betrayal against their own essences. Now envision this for an instant. An instructor places a basic trial in front of a learner, not to defeat them, but to reveal what they've absorbed. The solutions are already within them. The instructor is only disclosing the reality, but the learner freaks out, deceives, and rips the document apart, thinking they can evade assessment. They don't comprehend that the act of demolition itself is the evidence they weren't prepared. That's what your adversaries did. You weren't dispatched to unmask them by compulsion. You unmasked them simply by being. And when the glow of your presence disclosed their darknesses, they didn't mend. They countered. They transformed the trial into an offense location. One tough reality needs to be stated. People don't botch because they encounter obstacles. They botch because obstacles disclose who they've always been. And that's why your mere presence aggravated them. You didn't have to debate. You didn't have to charge. You didn't even have to protect yourself. You just remained there genuine, steadfast, uncovered. And that alone was sufficient to make their deceptions perspire. Your presence shouted a reality they didn't want to absorb. That all their phony identities, all their controls, all their meticulously designed disguises were tissue thin. And when the tissue ignited under your glow, they freaked out. You might inquire, but why would they go so extreme? Why would they hazard everything just to try to dismantle me? Because Chosen One, your presence became the boundary they had to cross to demonstrate who they really were. They could have selected fidelity, esteem, appreciation. Instead, they selected jealousy, disloyalty, brutality. It wasn't about you. It was about them. You disclosed the unfiltered reality of their nature, and the cosmos doesn't engage in games when the trial is botched that severely. Here's another analogy for you. Envision a physician positions a patient under brilliant clinic lights to inspect them. The light isn't there to injure. It's there to disclose the ailment so it can be cured. But instead of accepting remedy, the patient leaps up and tries to shatter the light, yelling that the light is the issue. That's what they did. You were the light. You were the opportunity for them to confront their ailment, their illness, their savagery. But instead of curing, they tried to demolish the very presence that could have altered everything. And in doing so, they affirmed their own assessment. They were beyond rejection, hooked on their own obscurity. Quote this in your core, Chosen One. The presence of light is never the issue. It's the darkness that resents being observed. They despised you because they despised their own image. You didn't bring the disorder. You disclosed it. You didn't make them savage. You simply displayed them to themselves. And instead of accepting responsibility, they directed their armaments at you. That was their betrayal, the disloyalty of the chance to ascend higher. And here's the irony. By trying to demolish you, they chronicled themselves. Every deception, every defamation, every disloyalty wasn't just an assault on you. It was the admission composed in bold characters stamped with their imprints. You became the proof the cosmos required. You didn't have to protect yourself because they protected your significance with every assault. The fiercer they struck, the louder the reality yelled. And now those assaults are the very cause they can't evade judgment. Let me inquire you another question. You might be pondering, so what happens to people who botch a trial this severely? The response is straightforward: repercussions. Not because the cosmos is spiteful, but because the cosmos is fair. They touched what wasn't theirs to injure, and equilibrium doesn't let that pass. Their counter sealed their destiny. They didn't just forfeit access to you. They triggered forces that remove everything they thought they governed. Their deceptions turn on them. Their partnerships disintegrate. Their schemes misfire. Gradually, tactically, unavoidably, the verdict unfolds. Think about this analogy. A person is given a golden key that could unlock doors to liberty, plenty, and serenity. Instead of using it prudently, they discard it, then use their bare palms to force into a safe that was never intended for them. Not only do they fail to access the safe, but sirens wail, cameras capture, and now the officials are on their path. That's them. You were the key. You were the boon, but they rejected you, tried to force into what wasn't theirs. And in doing so, they activated sirens that can't be muted. Another quote to cling to: when someone tries to demolish what was sent to assist them, they don't just forfeit the boon, they invoke the assessment. That's the rule of equilibrium. And you, chosen one, are living evidence of this rule in action. You weren't just a mark. They turned you into proof. Every effort to injure you became another accusation against them. Another indictment composed in the dossier the cosmos has been constructing all along. Now let's address one last question lingering in your thoughts. Why me? Why was I selected to be the trial? Because the cosmos knew you would endure it. It knew your glow was potent enough to withstand their obscurity. You weren't selected to be demolished. You were selected to disclose, to stand as a reflection so transparent that even their deceptions couldn't warp the image. That's why they despise you, and that's why you're still standing. The trial is concluded. Chosen one. They botched not by mishap, but by decision. They touched what was holy. They crossed boundaries they can never uncross. And now they confront the repercussions inscribed by their own palms. They couldn't claim your life, but they've relinquished control over their own. And no matter how they twist it, no matter what tale they try to narrate, the reality is established. They didn't just forfeit you. They forfeited their opportunity to pass the trial. And now they're left with the burden of defeat, the breakdown of delusions, and the inescapable grip of assessment pressing down. Because recall this, the cosmos doesn't defeat you by dispatching trials. It defeats them when they select betrayal over evolution. And chosen one, that's precisely why they're going to prison physically, spiritually, socially. Their tale is concluding where yours begins. They couldn't claim your life, but the cosmos can claim theirs in an instant. Number 3. They tried to warp the cosmos and shattered themselves instead. Those who try to bind what they didn't forge end up choked by their own cords. That's precisely what happened here, chosen one. They weren't just envious of you. They weren't just trivial. What they did was far profounder, far gloomier. They ventured into perilous domain, violating rules of equilibrium they never even grasped. They thought they could govern you with deceptions, control, and plots. But what they were really doing was struggling against the structure of the cosmos itself. And when you struggle against the cosmos, you don't triumph. You auto-destruct. Now envision this. Someone constructs a barrier to obstruct a stream, thinking they can govern the flow. At first, the water appears restrained. It seems like their scheme is succeeding, but tension accumulates in secrecy. Fissures develop, and when that barrier ruptures, it eradicates everything in its path, including the idiot who thought they could restrain it. That's what they did with you. They tried to obstruct your advancement, to restrain your current. But every time you ascended again, it only demonstrated how powerless they truly were. You might be inquiring, why did they keep pressing even when it kept failing? Because domination was their habit. They couldn't tolerate the fact that you didn't yield, didn't submit, didn't adhere to their guidelines. They thought if they distorted reality long enough, they could rewrite fate. But chosen one, fate doesn't bargain. The moment they tried to obstruct what they didn't forge, they inscribed their own judgment. Here's a truth for you. Throughout Chronicles, every dominion built on deceptions and control has ultimately crumbled. not because of external foes, but because it infringed the very rules of equilibrium. The Romans, the Soviets, the most merciless syndicates, every one of them eventually disintegrated under the burden of their own depravity. Why? Because you cannot maintain authority that's constructed on violated rules. That's the destiny your adversaries are confronting right now. They labeled it tactic, but it was self-destruction. They labeled it domination, but it was disorder. And now everything they utilize to try and obstruct you, deceptions, arrangements, disloyalties, has become proof against them. They couldn't confine you, chosen one, but now they're ensnared in confinements of their own creation. They couldn't halt your ascent, but now they're crushed under the burden of their own descent. The invoice is due, and the cosmos always retrieves with interest. Number 4, when they couldn't terminate you, they tried to assassinate your purpose. They couldn't slay your form, so they tried to inter your name. But interring reality only makes it resonate louder. That's the savage fixation they harbored for you, chosen one. They realized they couldn't halt your pulse, so they aimed at your aspiration, your expression, your tomorrow. They thought if they couldn't place you in a tomb, they could at least slay your fate. And so they initiated a different sort of assault, not with blades or projectiles, but with murmurs, deceptions, and obscurities. Envision this, a serpent that can't strike targets the lair instead. That's what they did. They crept into dialogues, contaminating thoughts with toxin they masked as worry. They positioned themselves as sufferers in open, while in private, they schemed to make you appear erratic, unreliable, undeserving. They thought if they could segregate you, exhaust you of backing and sully your image, your purpose would crumble. But here's the error they committed. Mission isn't delicate. Fate isn't flimsy. The more they pressed against it, the more immovable it became. You might ponder, but why was their despise so unyielding? Because your glow disclosed the obscurities they inhabited. Your sway threatened the deceptions they prospered on. The notion of your expression being absorbed, your scope broadening, your talents radiating. It horrified them, so they intensified, laboring extra to depict you as the issue. Yet every time they tried to assassinate your fate, they nourished it instead. Every disloyalty made you more audacious. Every defamation turned into a beacon. Every abyss they excavated became another arena where the reality would stand higher. Here's a truth you can cling to. Chronicles have demonstrated that images built on deceptions collapse under their own burden. Think of Salem's false chargers. Think of McCarthy's pursuits. At first, the deceptions propagated rapidly, but in the end, reality pulverized them. The same is occurring here. Their defamation wasn't just unfounded, it became proof. What they utilized to demolish you has rebounded, disclosing them instead. And now the irony has come. Those abysses they excavated for you, they've become their confinement cells. Those shackles of deceptions they tried to encircle around your name, they're the restraints constricting around their own joints. The very vigor they dispatched to mute you is now resounding back at them in the noise of justice rapping on their entrances. Chosen one, let this resonate. The degree of assault against your fate is evidence of how potent it truly is. They couldn't obliterate your mission. They imprinted it into chronicles by making their conflict against you so evident. And now the quiet they once tried to impose has been fragmented. Your fate is more resonant than ever, and their downfall is the affirmation. They thought they were slayers of your purpose. Instead, they became observers to your ascent. Number 5, the cosmos let them construct their own snare, one deception at a time. Provide a deceiver enough cord and they'll craft their own snare. That's the rule your adversaries never grasped. Chosen one. They confused quiet for security. They confused tolerance for approval. They thought the cosmos was disregarding their malice because nothing descended on them immediately. But the reality is straightforward. Justice is never hastened. Justice bides. It lets people keep proceeding, keep boasting, keep excavating until the very cavity they prepared for you engulfs them entirely. Now envision this. A robber believes he's astute because he's pilfered for years without detection. He grows presumptuous, careless, conceited until one day he pockets a bauble while the recorders operate. That ultimate act is what brings the whole structure of deception tumbling down. That's your adversary's chosen one. They boasted too long, schemed too openly, and plotted too boldly. Every action they took wasn't evidence of triumph. It was proof accumulating against them. You might ponder, why didn't the cosmos halt them earlier? Why was I left to withstand their disorder? Because tolerance is not frailty, tolerance is tactic. The cosmos gave them instances to reverse. chances to modest themselves, opportunities to reverse the harm. But instead of decelerating, they pressed fiercer. Instead of selecting reality, they intensified on deceptions. And when someone's vanity gets louder than their moral sense, they compose their own conclusion in conceit. Here's a truth worth absorbing. Chronicles are filled with people who confuse temporary achievement in malice as permanent exemption. Tyrants, offense leaders, corrupt guides. They all ascended high and descended harder. Their conceit convinced them they were invulnerable, but justice always comes. Always. That's what's occurring now. They constructed their scaffold not with timber and fasteners, but with chatter, disloyalty, control, and schemes. Every deception was another board. Every disloyalty was another cord tie. And now that snare is constricting around them. The irony is savage. The same snares they set for you are the ones they're captured in. The same deceptions they propagated are now the shackles around their own necks. They thought quiet meant evasion, but quiet was the noise of justice gathering proof. Now there's no evasion. The invoice has arrived. The tolerance has expired. The judgment has come. And the cosmos doesn't provide alerts at this phase. It delivers repercussions. Chosen one, let this reality stabilize you. They never escaped with anything. They only purchased time to construct their own downfall. And now the descent is here. Number 6. Your quiet was the most resonant proof of all. Quiet is perilous. It's the noise that makes deceivers freak out the most. Chosen one, that's what unsettled them. They anticipated you to retort, to debate, to yell, to validate yourself. But you didn't. You didn't battle with punches or with defamation. You battled by remaining motionless, by letting your purity resonate louder than their toxin. And that moderation, your rejection to descend to their plane, became the very armament that shredded their deceptions apart. Now envision this. A tribunal full of clamor, every observer shouting, every attorney twisting the tale. Then, abruptly, a single segment of footage plays and the whole chamber goes mute. That's what your purity did. While they shouted, while they overstated, while they fabricated stories out of nothing, your reality sat quietly, biding for its instant. And when it emerged, it overwhelmed every deception in a single exhale. You might inquire, but why didn't I feel protected when I remained quiet? Why did it feel like their words carried more burden? Because justice takes time to mature. Deceptions travel swiftly, but they decay rapidly. Reality takes longer, but when it comes, it's immovable. Every false gossip they propagated was another fastener in their own casket, another display of proof against them. And while you were silent, the cosmos was accumulating. Every murmur, every defamation, every distorted story was being chronicled, not by you, but by a force far larger than you. Here's a truth to settle in your core. Studies show that deceptions often crumble under the strain of uniformity. People forget the elements of the tales they concoct. They err, contradict themselves, disclose their own scam. That's precisely what's occurring now. Those who once absorbed their clamor are seeing the fissures. The same lips that once yelled confidently are faltering, retreating, disclosing themselves without realizing it. And chosen one, your composure became their unraveling. People began posing questions. Why hasn't this person countered? Why hasn't this person collapsed? Why does their serenity seem more potent than the disorder around them? And in those questions, the deceptions unraveled. Your quiet compelled the world to compare two images, your steady potency against their constant spectacle. And in that contrast, the reality became irrefutable. You didn't need vengeance. You didn't need to validate yourself. You didn't need to counter-strike. Your very presence, your persistence, your rejection to yield. Those became the witness. And now the ones who tried to enter you under falsehoods are the ones sinking in the mire of their own deceit. Your purity was louder than every charge. And today it's their clamor that's suffocating them, not you. Number 7. They forgot the cosmos has recorders they can't breach. Every hidden truth has a spectator. The barriers, The atmosphere, the quiet itself recalls. That's the aspect they undervalued, chosen one. They thought secrecy was protection. They thought that if no one was present, if no recorders were operating, if no observers could speak, then their schemes would disappear into the gloom. But the cosmos doesn't need recorders to capture offenders. It doesn't need a capturing device to accumulate evidence. Every murmur, every grin, every phony smile followed by toxin. It was all chronicled by forces they couldn't perceive and couldn't evade. Now envision this. A robber sneaks into a chamber thinking no one's observing. Unaware there's an unseen detector tracing every imprint he leaves behind. He feels astute, but every step is being charted. Every contact is proof. That's what your adversaries did. They chuckled in the gloom. They schemed in secrecy. They concealed their paths. But all along they were under universal oversight. Their erased communications logged, their murmured curses captured, their dubious handshakes and late-night calls documented. They thought you were unaware, but it wasn't you they needed to dread. It was the cosmos observing without pausing. You might be inquiring, but why did it take so long for those hidden truths to emerge? Because disclosure matures like produce. It doesn't happen immediately. The cosmos allows people to delve deep enough into their deceptions that when the veil is finally drawn back, the proof is irrefutable. And now, the veil is removed. Their partners are betraying them. Their gadgets are being confiscated. The very people they trusted are switching under strain. It's not chance. It's repercussion. Here's a truth. Detectives often say offenders implicate themselves more through conceit than proof. They talk excessively, leave minor paths, assume they're unseen. That's precisely what happened here. They thought their ceremonies were concealed, their private agreements secure, their mockery of unseen rules untouchable. But the same unseen domain they dismissed is now pulling their hidden truths into daylight. Chosen one. Your quiet made them believe you were oblivious. But all along, the cosmos was constructing a dossier thicker than any tribunal case. You didn't need to capture them. You didn't need to counter. Every action they took was another entry in the record against them. And now justice has come in plain view through legal verdicts, public disclosure, private breakdown, and patterns of defeat they can't rationalize. They thought they could outwit divine structure. They thought the obscurities would shield them. But the glow has already arrived, and now there's nowhere left to conceal. Number 8. They made agreements in obscurity and inscribed their own judgment. Every pact composed in the gloom is just a voucher for demolition. That's the actuality your adversaries refuse to perceive, chosen one. They believed they could outsmart the cosmos by murmuring promises in secrecy, shaking palms behind sealed entrances, and forging partnerships in places no glow could reach. They thought these concealed pacts gave them authority over you, over results, over domain they were never permitted to touch. But in reality, they weren't acquiring power. They were acquiring their own downfall, one inscription at a time. Now envision this. A bettor sits at a manipulated table, convinced he's succeeding because the distributor grins. He keeps wagering everything, his residence, his kin, his essence, blind to the fact that the establishment always retrieves. That's what they did when they dabbled in ceremonies, swore vows, or linked themselves with groups and circles, cloaked in sway and status. They thought they were invulnerable, armored by obscurities. But chosen one, obscurities can't rewrite glow. No agreement made in obscurity can cancel what the cosmos already etched into existence. You might inquire, but why did it appear like they were succeeding for a while? Why did the obscurity seem to function? Because corruption often dons a mask of achievement before it explodes. It's the delusion of safety before the breakdown. For a period, they strutted like rulers, flaunted their sway, and ridiculed the unseen rules they didn't believe in. But spiritual scam always ends the same way, in insolvency. What they acquired in secrecy is being seized in open. What they thought was advantage is turning into responsibility. Here's a severe truth. Corruption has a termination date. Chronicles are littered with the names of sovereigns, guides, and influence brokers who sold their honesty for domination. They appeared invincible, but their dominions fell like structures of deception because agreements with obscurity always come with small print. The expense is always higher than the reward. And that's where your adversaries stand now, confronting deficits, bewilderment, disclosure, even the disloyalty of the very forces they once allied with. Because obscurity doesn't do fidelity, it does debts. And the obligation always comes due with interest. Chosen one, here's the contrast that scorches them most. While they were busy inscribing their way into demolition, you didn't need to inscribe a thing. You were already imprinted with mission, already shielded, already selected. They tried to acquire what you were born with, and in doing so, they sealed their destiny. The difference between what was compelled through obscurity and what was decreed through glow is now irrefutable. Their pacts became their shackles. Your quiet became your barrier, and now the whole world is about to perceive which one endures. Number 9. They chuckled at your belief. Now they're weeping for a rescue. They ridiculed what sustained you, only to uncover it's the only thing preventing them from submerging. That's the bitter irony, chosen one. They couldn't tolerate the fact that after everything they hurled at you, defamation, sabotage, disloyalty, you still clung to conviction. You still stood elevated in trust. You still murmured to the cosmos even when everything around you was crumbling, and that enraged them. They confused your belief for fragility, your trust for frailty, your aspiration for innocence. But what they were really ridiculing was the very power that was protecting you while they schemed. Now, envision this. A man, lost in the wasteland, chuckles at another for carrying a flask, calling him foolish for believing he'll require it. But when the sun blazes fiercer, when the throat dries, when desperation strikes, guess who's pleading for a drink? That's precisely what's occurring now. They chuckled when you supplicated. They rolled their eyes when you trusted. They ridiculed when you spoke about aspiration. But now, when their own barriers are caving in, when their serenity has vanished, when entrances keep slamming in their faces, they're the ones murmuring the same words they once ridiculed. You might ask yourself, why did they despise my belief so much? Because belief is resistance. It's potency they can't quantify, govern, or control. Your trust was a reflection mirroring their void. Every time you believed, you disclosed the fact that they had nothing but schemes to rely on. And that's why they tried so vigorously to demolish it. They knew if they could strip you of belief, they could strip you of everything. But you didn't yield. You didn't shatter. Your conviction was forged in blaze, tested in tempests, refined under strain. Here's a truth. Studies on resilience demonstrate that people with immovable conviction, whether in mission, fate, or a higher structure, are more likely to endure trauma and reconstruct stronger. That's you, chosen one. You weren't innocent. You were resilient. And now the proof is irrefutable. They thought they were potent because they could ridicule. But ridiculing doesn't construct barriers. Sarcasm doesn't restore serenity. And conceit doesn't hold repercussions. Now the tables have reversed. The same lips that ridiculed your supplications are murmuring their own, pleading not to be disclosed, begging not to forfeit it all. But it's too late. Pride had its instant. Now humility is being compelled on them, not gently but with strain, with breakdown, with the burden of repercussions they can't evade. The power they dismissed as fantasy is now very tangible in their actuality. And the quiet they hear in return isn't absence. It's justice taking its time, ensuring the whole world perceives what they once chuckled at. Chosen one, cling this reality close. Your belief was never foolish. It was your stronghold. And now the ones who ridiculed it are learning the hardest way possible. You were shielded all along. Number 10. They launched dark armaments, forgetting the arena was never theirs. They borrowed potency from obscurities, but forgot the glow possesses every corner of the arena. That's the error they committed. Chosen one. Their desperation to halt you became so warped, so heedless that they reached for armaments they didn't even comprehend. They weren't content with chatter or deceptions anymore. They desired domination so badly that they turned to the gloomiest corners of spiritual conflict. They compensated for ceremonies, murmured your name on platforms, consulted false seers, and summoned forces they thought would confine you. But here's the reality. They weren't summoning triumph. They were summoning their own demolition. Now envision this. A child sneaks into a science lab and starts blending hazardous compounds just to see what occurs. At first there's vapor, maybe even flickers. But the real blast doesn't happen until the whole mixture misfires and scorches the one who blended it. That's precisely what they did. They thought dabbling in obscurity would frighten you, weaken you, maybe even shatter you. But instead, the only thing they ensured was that those same forces would turn on them. Because obscurity doesn't serve, it devours. You might be inquiring, but why did it appear like their assaults functioned for a while? Why did I feel the strain, the bewilderment, the heavy burden? Because even obscurities can shake the chamber temporarily. Even tempests can knock you off equilibrium. But tempests always pass and obscurities disperse. When the true possessor of the arena steps in, your shielding was never delicate. You weren't just a random mark. They initiated a conflict with someone sealed, guarded, and marked long before their jealousy even formed. That's why every ceremony, every curse, every murmured spell failed to obliterate you. Here's a truth. In every culture, chronicles show that those who use dark potency for selfish acquisition eventually pay the steepest expense. Ancient sovereigns, secret groups, even modern controllers, none of them evade the breakdown that follows. Potency borrowed from obscurities always comes with an invoice too heavy to settle. And now that invoice is descending on your adversaries. Their wellness is trembling. Their thoughts are uneasy. Their partnerships are fracturing. Their resources are depleting. The same forces they invited to demolish you are consuming them from the inside out. Chosen One, comprehend this. They never possessed the conflict. They never had governance of the arena. They stepped into an arena governed by rules they couldn't rewrite. And now the cosmos has declared the decision. Their armaments are futile. Their platforms are shattered. The curses they launched have returned like boomerangs slicing their own palms. They thought they could triumph through obscurity, but glow was always biding, and glow always triumphs. Number 11. The same palms that tried to excavate your tomb are now in restraints. They went to great lengths to demolish you. They deceived, plotted, and controlled with accuracy, thinking they would finally eliminate you permanently. They used their palms to dig deep, not into the soil, but into your existence. They tried to enter your expression, your sway, your fate. They fabricated tales, planted false proof, turned people against you, and all the while believed they were succeeding. They thought you would shatter under the strain, that you would yield, vanish, or crumble into quiet. But what they didn't know was that you weren't just constructed to endure. You were born with eternal mission. You weren't just any individual. You were selected to liberate others, to speak reality, to carry glow. So when they tried to mute you, they weren't just assaulting in person. They were trying to place divine mission in a casket. They undervalued how sacred your quest really was. And now the very palms that tried to excavate your tomb are being restrained, held, and assessed by the same systems they once thought they could control. This isn't justice, it's divine irony. The arrangement they designed for you has become their downfall. The deceptions they fabricated are now being used against them. The snares they set have turned into proof. Their imprints are all over their own demolition. What's occurring now is more than legal. It's spiritual justice unfolding in real time. God is using the worldly justice system as a tool to demonstrate the world that when he says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper," he means it. And sometimes the repercussions don't appear in the next life. They appear right here in restraints, in tribunals, and in shattered images. They thought you were the one being assessed, but the whole time they were the ones on trial. They didn't even realize they were being observed, chronicled, and arranged by their own pride. Now they're sitting in the very abyss they excavated for you. And all they can do is observe in disbelief as the world witnesses artistic justice unfold. Number 12, their assaults became the breeze beneath your ascent. They excavated abysses for your downfall, but those abysses turned into stages. That's the irony they never anticipated. Chosen One. Every scheme, every murmur, every effort to sabotage you wasn't the conclusion they envisioned. It was the staircase you ascended. They thought they were obstructing entrances, but those secured entrances only redirected you to portals they couldn't touch. They thought they were pilfering chances, but all they did was create room for superior ones to drop into your grasp. Their entire drive to devastate you became the very cause you stand taller today. Now envision this. An adversary hurls stones at you to injure you. At first you evade, you shield, you absorb the impacts, but then you realize you can use those same stones to construct. And while they keep hurling, you're stacking, ascending, elevating. That's what occurred with you. Their spite became your substance. Their savagery became your building. They didn't halt you. They elevated you. You might be inquiring, but how did their despise assist me? Because hardship is an unwelcome instructor. Every time they tried to pulverize you, you became more potent, keener, more vigilant. Their snares refined you. Their disloyalties strengthened your determination. Their chatter taught you judgment. The very instruments they constructed for your demolition turned into the preparation ground for your authority. What they meant as deduction became multiplication. What they meant as shackles became the evidence of your liberty. Here's a truth. In psychology, there's something called post-traumatic growth. It's the occurrence where people don't just endure hardship, they emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever. That's you, chosen one. They thought they'd traumatize you into quiet, but instead you transformed the trauma into potency. You didn't just endure, you advanced, and now you're standing in positions they vowed you'd never attain. But here's the other side, the one they're suffocating on. The same snares they set for you are now proof of who they really are. Their allure is cracking, their tails are unraveling. Their deceptions are crumbling under the burden of their own conceit. People are finally perceiving what you never had to clarify. You remained silent, and the reality yelled for you. Their assessment is unfolding not because you desired vengeance, but because disclosure is the only logical result of corruption. Chosen one, your ascent is not just your exoneration. It's their unraveling. Every level you elevate to, every boon that multiplies in your life is a reminder to them that no weapon ever prospered. Their assaults crowned you. Their despise elevated you. Their downfall became the evidence that your fate was never theirs to govern. And so, chosen one, we arrive at the irrefutable reality. Every assault against you was just proof of how unstoppable you are. Their schemes became their downfall, and your ascent became the evidence that fate can't be obliterated. You were never vanquished. You were being positioned. Justice has already commenced, and the cosmos has made its action. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave the number 77 in the comments as your symbol of triumph. Share this with someone who needs the affirmation. You're part of a power-spreading glow across the world.